All right, so I want to tell you about this game I've been playing called Prologue, Go Wayback. And honestly, it surprised me more than I thought it would. When I first saw the trailer, I thought, okay, survival open world, procedurally generated maps, wilderness, the usual. But as I dove into it, I realized there's something quite special going on. From the start, you're dropped in this wild, unpredictable world. No hand-holding, no quest markers telling you what to do. You're basically on your own, with your compass, a map, and your instincts. The concept of exploring a new terrain every time you play stood out immediately. I loaded the one I got, and the moment I stepped out of the cabin, I realized that the environment matters. The weather was shifting, the wind howled, and I was like, okay, I'm not just exploring, I'm surviving. The visuals surprised me. The terrain is generated with machine learning tech, so the map is unique each run, and it shows. I climbed a ridge and the view opened up. Forest, rivers, a distant weather tower glinting under gray clouds. The lighting, the trees swaying, the clouds moving, it felt just slightly off the ordinary open-world survival game. It gave me that wow moment where I thought, this might be more than just another survival indie. Gameplay-wise, I found myself paying attention to minor details. My clothes were soaked from a rainstorm. My fire flickered weakly in the wind. I realized I had to find water before I got dehydrated. Then the temperature dropped, a blizzard moved in, and I shouted at the screen, "Why am I so cold?" Because the game doesn't hold your hand. It expects you to read the sky, check your map, decide whether you're going to move now or wait until the storm passes. That decision-making added some real weight. Exploration felt meaningful. Not just run from point A to point B, but choose your route, weigh risk versus reward. Do I take the valley to stay sheltered or climb the ridge to get better visibility? Do I risk pushing through nightfall or stop and wait? The freedom is refreshing, but also kind of scary when you realize you're vulnerable. I found myself more invested because the world felt alive and threatening at the same time. Now, the fact that this is a single-player experience stood out to me. I initially wondered if it had co-op, but from what I gathered, the focus is solo. And honestly, I think that's the right choice for this game. The solitude adds to the atmosphere. It's you, the wilderness, and your will to see the weather tower at the horizon. Having other players running around might have diluted that feeling. So if you're looking for a solo survival exploration journey, this fits. That said, the game offers different modes. One where survival is the challenge, another where you can roam freely, just soak in the world without too much pressure. I played both. Free roam was beautiful just to take screenshots, to soak in the environment. The survival mode, though, that's where I felt the tension, the stakes, the heartbeat of the game. I loved that contrast. One moment that stuck out. I had chosen to climb high ground to scout for shelter, and I saw a snow-covered ridge with a tiny cabin in the distance. I thought, that's my goal. I headed toward it, clouds rolled in, snow started falling harder, and suddenly the path vanished. The ridge was slick, and I almost slipped and froze. I made it to the cabin just in time. That run felt cinematic. It was one of those times where you leaned forward in your chair thinking, this is real survival. This is fun. Crafting and resource management are handled in a smart but not overcomplicated way. You forage, you build shelter, you light fires, you keep warm. The game throws moments like your fire died in the wind, or your water's frozen, and you realize survival isn't just about killing monsters, it's about adapting. When you overcome that, you feel accomplished. On the downside, there were times when the terrain felt a little empty. Some biomes had less detail, some forests looked repetitive. For a game promising dynamic, generated worlds, that brief feeling of, meh, looks similar, happened. But honestly, it was rare. And when the weather changed or some hazard came in, that flaw was pushed aside. Also, the survival loop might feel slow for players used to action survival titles. This one is more about pacing, about immersion rather than constant danger. I will say, though, the map editor and the idea you can create your own worlds or share seeds is exciting. I tried messing around with it, and the thought of, okay, I could design a map, share it, then play it later, added a layer I didn't expect. It tells me the developers see this as more than just a game. They see it as a platform. They mention Project Artemis as a long-term vision, and this game is apparently the beginning of that journey. That's bold, and I like bold. Performance was solid for me. Smooth frame rate even in stormy weather and dense forests, which gave me confidence that this will run fine on many systems when it launches. The early access date is coming up, November 20th, 2025, so if you're thinking of jumping in early, that's around the corner. In short, Prologue Go Wayback made me pause, explore, feel the environment, worry about hunger, drink water, and think, I'm not just playing, I'm surviving. It's not perfect, but it's refreshingly different. If you're someone who enjoys being alone with your thoughts and your map and your compass, if you like games that let you breathe and reflect while also offering tension and challenge, then this one's for you. I'm really looking forward to how this game evolves. If they expand the biomes, deepen the survival mechanics, add more hazards, more storytelling via the environment, they're on to something great. So keep an eye on it. In a sea of survival games that feel familiar, this one feels unique. But there's one more thing I haven't touched on yet, the emotional element. Because for me, playing this game felt like walking a trail for hours and realizing at the end you're changed. The weather hitting you, the anonymity of survival, the uncertainty, these things build not just tension, but reflection. I found myself thinking about choices. Did I take the safe route? Did I risk for a better view? Did I push too hard? When you stop and take a moment in the game's world, you feel small and yet empowered. You're fragile, but you're also capable. Then you realize the weather tower looms far ahead, yet you're the only one moving toward it. You're the only one crafting your route. That solitude starts to feel powerful. The last time I reached the tower, after hours of careful pacing, I sat back, looked at the map, and thought, yeah, I earned this. It wasn't about battling zombies or monsters. It was about battling nature, battling your expectations, and coming out alive. If the developers deliver on the promises, expand the world, add more biomes, more layers of story and mechanics, this game could become one of those sleeper hits that people look back on and say, remember when we discovered that little gem? Because deep down, I think Prologue Go Wayback has that potential. So yeah, that's my full experience with Prologue Go Wayback. It's charming, immersive, risky, and different in the best possible way. If you enjoy survival, exploration, and letting the environment tell part of your story, then you should definitely add this to your wish list. Thanks for listening, take care, and I'll catch you in the next video. Whew.